Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Mahamayuri Vidyarajni Buddha, the Mahamayuri Vidyarajni Sutra, and Mahamayuri Vidyarajni's retinue. Sumo, Tanchen Gyatso Tuten Siddhi, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do?
Aistero, Shalane, hola amigo, te quiero mucho. Skoin, Ichiban, Jimoji, Jumi, Yapi, Pirin, Konnichiwa.
I would like to announce for next Sunday, September 18th at 3 p.m. there will be Mahabala Homa fire offering ceremony. Mahabala is True Buddha School's Mahabala has contract with True Buddha School to support True Buddha School. And you can see his image, his appearance is this deity here. And his mudra is the wrathful mudra for both hands. So subjugation or wrathful mudra for both hands. And the mantra.
Om Mahaparaya Swaha. Om Mahaparaya Hum Pei. Om Mahaparaya Swaha. Om Mahaparaya Hum Pei.
Mahaparaya Soha Om Mahaparaya Hum Pei. This deity has many transformations. The Vajra pole or staff belongs to Padmakumara, and his celestial duster belongs to Golden Mother, and he's also the envoy with great power of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, and his yidam is Amitabha Buddha. It's Amitabha Buddha's emanation, transformation. So he has many transformations. transformations, Golden Mother, Amitabha Buddha, Padma Kumara, Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. The combination of all those. In Tibetan Tantayana, someone has transmitted this deity, the Mahabala, the Heruka with great power. He has tremendous power. And he's a great protector of true Buddha school. Many people have Mahabala as their protectors. And Mahamayuri came from the Mahamayuri Vimalakirti Sutra spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. Sakyamuni Buddha, one of Sakyamuni Buddha's past lives was a peacock king. Mahamayuri means great peacock king. When he was in the animal realm, Sakyamuni Buddha was once a peacock king. So Mahamayuri wears the crown of Vairocana Buddha. And in the Amitabha Sutra, a transformation body of Amitabha Buddha is a peacock. He emanated many birds with marvelous sound to entice people to practice the 37 enlightening factors. So the Mahamayuri is a combination of Vairocana Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, and the Peacock King. So that's why he's referred, or he or she is referred to as the Great Peacock King Buddha, or Mahamayuri Buddha Rajni. So Mahamayuri is a functional body of Sakyamuni Buddha because one of his life was a peacock king. And in the Amitabha Sutra, there was a peacock, kalavinkas, and other birds, and the peacock was an emanation of Amitabha Buddha and Vairocana Buddha. So the look of Mahamayuri is the look of Vairocana Buddha, and Mahamayuri is wearing the crown of Vairocana Buddha. So therefore, he's an equal body of Vairocana Buddha, and transformation body, and the functional body of Sakyamuni Buddha. So he's a union of three Buddhas: Amitabha, Vairocana, and Sakyamuni Buddhas. So if you got COVID-19 and registered for the primary supplicants, or merit holders, you will not get COVID-19. If you got it, or even if you get infected, you will recover right away. And the most special part about this deity is that it includes purification, enrichment, subjugation, and magnetization. Because one of the hands holding a peacock feather to subjugate, one hand is holding a white lotus for purification, and then one hand is holding the yellow auspicious fruit for enrichment and the red fruit for magnetization, love and respect. And we heard that when a peacock eats a slight or a little bit of poison, then their feathers would become even more brilliant and radiant. So the Mahamayuri Vidyarajni Sutra was spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha because Sakyamuni Buddha's disciple was bitten by a poisonous snake. So Sakyamuni Buddha utilized Mahamayuri to help his disciple, so that disciple was spared from death. This was recorded in the Mahamayuri Vidyarajni Sutra. By performing the Homa today, we hope that we can detoxify, all of us, each of us can detoxify. Not only from the bodies, but also from the minds. So physically and mentally, all poisons and toxins can be eliminated. Let me share a joke. A couple, or boyfriend, girlfriend, after they separated, before they separated, they're called the present spouse. And then after they separated, they're called ex. And then if you got back together, what would you call them? You call them re-elected.
好像是华盛顿 DC 登堡雷藏寺。
So the Dengbao temple from Maryland, the master there is called Master Lianren. I think I've told this joke before. The husband is driving and the wife is sitting next to him. And the wife told the husband, "Honey, do you remember before we got married? We would play this game that you would kiss me every time we stop at the red light."
就亲那个女朋友一下，他们约束好的。
So they had this game that the man would kiss the woman when they stop at the red light, and the husband replied, "Sure, I remember."
那我们现在可以在
And the wife said,
这个游戏好。
"Let's play that again now."
老公说好啊。
And the husband said, "Sure." But he drives on the highway.
没得吻。
No more kiss.
结婚前跟结婚后是
So before and after marriage is different.
所以有很多事情过去。
That's why many things in the past, in the present, and in the future
这个时间上
depend on time.
还是会有变化，
on
还是会有变化。
there still changes. There's nothing that stays the same all the time.
都有变化。
So in terms of space and time, anything, everything will change.
也都有变化。 昨天我们过中秋节，
Yesterday we celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival, and there's this joke.
过中秋节
When you were 10,
嫦娥的故事，
in celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival, you could not listen to the story of Chang'e, the Chinese goddess of the moon. All you think about is the
这
mooncake.
时候过中秋
At 20, when you celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival,
吃不下去，
you cannot eat the mooncake, and you keep thinking about Chang'e, the
到
goddess.
了30岁以后呢，
And after the 30s, you don't eat the mooncakes
也
anymore,
不想，
and you don't think about the goddess,
开始想着嫦娥的兔子，
and you start thinking about the rabbit that the goddess owns.
烧烤
Do you want it barbecued,
还是3杯，
or sauce braised, or with 3 cups of
所以刚刚我刚刚讲过了，
condiment?
在时
So, like I said, in terms of the space and time, spatial and time dimension, there is
时间变化了，
a change
空
to
间
everything.
都会有，
Time changes, space changes.
这个叫做在佛教里
It's always different.
千流不息。
In Buddhism, we say that it's ever changing.
我们进入主题，
Now we'll get on to the main topic. Question from Honey in Singapore.
师尊你好，请问为什么会有国界？
Okay, Master, may I ask you why there are different realms, such as the realms of the Bodhisattvahood, of the heavenly,
他的问题，
of the human realms, and all this other,
为什
and
么
why the incarnation exists?
菩萨界、天界
Why are there realms of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heavens, and other realms, and why does reincarnation exist?
这就是我们所讲的这些境界，都是变化出来的。
So, we say that all these realms are manifested,
那么也就是依你
transformed.
因缘，
So, depending on your own causes and conditions, all kinds of realms manifest for you. If you practice the highest realm of Buddhahood, then you need to completely you need to have a complete outflow of everything in order to reach the realm of Buddhahood. When you reach the realm of Bodhisattvahood, is to teach you to benefit others, to benefit sentient beings. And you perform all the actions of bodhisattvas in order to have the bodhisattva realm. And the heavenly realm is when you do all the goodness, and by attaining the merit and blessings, you can go to the heavens. Simply said, why is there a realm of the Asura? Because they have the merit of the heavens, and they can go to heavens, but they still have strong anger and aggression. So that's why it would be Asura realm for them. So it manifests due to the causes and conditions. This is related to what we will talk about in the Vimalakirti Sutra. The Vimalakirti Sutra also states that the changes in the causes and conditions would manifest the realms of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heavens, humans, Asuras, hells, hungry ghosts, animals. They all manifest due to the causes and conditions. Reincarnation or transmigration, and generally speaking, the 6 rebirth realms are the heavens, human, Asura, hell, hungry ghosts, and animal realms. These realms are in transmigration, amidst the transmigration. So depending on your causes and condition, you would be reincarnated in which realm. That's the typical explanation. That's my answer to Henry from Singapore. The Buddha has 10 epithets, and we often recite them. If you are endowed with all these 10 epithets, then you would be, only then you would be called a Buddha. Like understanding the worldly or beyond worldly, the master adjuster, the teacher of humans and heavens, devas, heavenly beings, and Buddhas, Tathagata, Buddha, Tathagata, and more. And bodhisattvas primarily to benefit others. And the highest, greatest bodhisattvas would be Buddha in waiting, very close to being a Buddha. Almost identical to a Buddha. And a Buddha is also the enlightened or awakened one. So if you do all good deeds, then you can go to heavens to enjoy your blessings. That's the heavenly realms. And For the 6 rebirth realms are divided into greed, anger, delusion. If you have a strong anger and aggression, you would go to the Asura realm. If you're ignorant and deluded, then that would be the animal realm. If you're evil and do evil deeds, then that would be hells and hungry ghosts. And if have good, have bad, that would be the human realm. That's the answer to his question. If someone share their mooncake to a friend, that's a friendship. If they give you the whole mooncake, what is that? The answer, because the mooncake tastes bad. Wish you a happy mooncake festival. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. So sharing half is a friendship, but if giving you the whole mooncake, that the mooncake must taste bad. Today we will talk about the Vimalakirti Sutra. They knew full well the coming and going of sentient beings, their motives, minds, and actions. They knew full well the coming and going of sentient beings, their motives, minds, and actions. So the great Bodhisattvas know the behavior and conduct of sentient beings, their motives, their interest, what they like, and what they think in their minds, what they want to do. All of this are known to the great Bodhisattvas. So what it means here, as a great Bodhisattva, you understand all of the behavior of sentient beings and the minds and thoughts of the sentient beings. As a Bodhisattva, they understand really well the behavior of each person and what they think in their mind. So a great Bodhisattva should be able to do that. So this phrase, this statement is very simple. This should be simple because every one of us has our past lives, present life, and future lives. And now, the present represents the past. The present also represents the future. So, looking at a person, say, For a great bodhisattva with good knowledge would know, by looking at a person, would know about their past and their future. So a great bodhisattva has this ability because they are to help sentient beings. If they don't understand sentient beings, it would be impossible to help them. Because they understand sentient beings and they know about their thoughts, their mindsets, and their behavior, so they can teach and transform sentient beings using this method. So the general explanation is this, that the great bodhisattva knows about the cause and effect of the three lifetimes, past, present, and future. And they know the future too. Let me give an example. Is Lin Rui Qin here? She's right there. Last time I had mentioned about her husband, Dharma brother Huang, and their relationship was very good. When Dharma brother Huang in Taiwan got really sick and left the world soon afterward, and because of his love, he was still roaming in the Sahara. So because he was still very much in love, I delivered him with 1,000 Dharma vessels. And because I called upon him, he came, but he did not want to get on board, not get on the bed, on the ship. He didn't want to get on board. Sometimes I mix between bed and boat. So he did not want to get on the Dharma vessel. He wanted to stay in samsara to accompany his wife. And I have told him many times, you have to get on board. But he was very reluctant. He didn't want to go. Because he still had love in his heart. And finally, I could get him on board. And he left. And afterwards, his Dharma sister received a sign like Dharma brother Huang came back to tell her that I would not be able to be on your side all the time. I need to go. I want to go to heavens. So he cannot stay around. So he did not appear in the Dharma sister's dreams anymore. And she also hasn't felt him around anymore. And he also said at that time, except if Grandmaster Lu approves me to come. Was that right? He needed Grandmaster Lu's permission to come to her side. So I know what he's thinking. He's not thinking about Sukhavati or the heavens. Because he was still strongly in love with his wife. He did not bear to leave his wife alone in this Saha world. So he had such a feeling. So as a great Bodhisattva, you need to understand the mind or the heart of sentient beings, what they think, what they want. And he said that he needs Grandmaster Lu's permission to come to samsara. This is called they knew full well the coming and going of sentient beings, their motives, thoughts, minds, and behaviors. Because the great Bodhisattvas understand their behaviors and actions and their minds and mindsets, so they're able to guide the sentient beings to walk toward the heavenly realms, toward the Pure Lands, to walk on the spiritual cultivation path. Otherwise, if a great Bodhisattva does not understand the sentient beings, then it would be extremely difficult. And there is a lady from Hong Kong that came to Seattle and told Grandmaster, "Grandmaster, I'm here." So I asked her, "Where are you from?" "Hong Kong." The Grandmaster gave her the passport, like her name is Lianhua Yongsi. Is she here? She's right there. She has many spiritual responses. I have told everyone at the Seattle Lijiang Temple that when I close my eyes, half awake and half drowsy, someone gave me a piece of paper and wanted me to sign it, and then I signed it, right? Do you remember? I mentioned that. And I did say that that piece of paper was a pass, was the travel pass. So after signing the travel pass, is the one that it's hers. So she came to Seattle. So that's a spiritual response. I've talked about it before she got here. Someone gave me a piece of paper for me to sign, and I asked, "What is this for?" And she said, "A travel pass." And I signed it. And that's her travel pass or the visa to come to America. And as she passed the immigration, and the immigration officer was Grandmaster Lu. And with her travel pass of Sengyan Lu, she could pass. It's also a spiritual response. How did you come? By carrying Sengyan Lu travel pass. So even seated at this Dharma throne, I'm still working, taking care of things. Last night, when I performed the thousands of Dharma vessels Bardo deliverance, I also did a lot of things. I signed papers and granted requests. You need to understand people's behaviors and their heart minds. Then it would be easier for a great bodhisattva to help and deliver sentient beings. Like Tantrayana is more appropriate for sentient beings. Like in Mahayana Buddhism, there is no such thing as wealth deity practices. They would say, what about money or wealth? That's poisonous snakes. Don't touch them. It would increase your greed. And Vimalakirti says, a great bodhisattva will give you what you want, what you need. So in Tantric Buddhism, we have wealth deity practices, so that when you practice them, by practicing them, you also acquaint yourself with the Tantric practice procedures. Although you practice the wealth deity practices to gain wealth, but in your practice, you gradually familiarize yourself with tantric practices or sadhanas. And once you gain spiritual responses, you would progress. So Vimalakirti states that you use the desire to entice you and then guide you onto the Buddhist path. So you entice them using the desire, by fulfilling the desire of sentient beings, and then gradually guide them onto the Buddhist path. So for those who desire money, they have wealth deity practices. And those who love fame and name, you can practice Mahabala. Then you can gain power and authority. By practicing Mahabala, you would become more famous, more popular. If you want to become a high official or whatever you want to do, he has great power to increase your power and authority. If you love sex, so wealth, sex, and fame are something that's most ordinary people have. But if you cling to money, sex, and fame, then you can go to hell. However, if they're enticed by fulfilling their desire first before transforming them into the Buddhist path, onto the Buddhist path. That's why we have the consort practice for those who love sex, because you also practice Buddhism in doing the practice. Most people or Mahayana Buddhists would say consort practice are definitely evil. How could spiritual cultivators ever do such things? Even non-spiritual cultivators also love sex, right? Not just spiritual practitioners. Whether they practice spirituality or not, they all love sex. Some people get married and they have to do the thing. That's also a consort practice, right? But you transform it into a Dharma practice or Buddhist practice, then it becomes a Buddha Dharma. Because man and woman in this world, when they're in union, that's all consort practice. Wedding nights, honeymoons, they're all consort practice, right? If you stay in this bedroom and he stays or she stays in another bedroom, then how can that be a wedding night? But it's very. So how can you get married and stay in separate bedrooms? No, it doesn't happen on wedding nights, but usually it happens later on. In the beginning, you're so attached to each other, like glued together. That's human nature. You cannot say that loving sex is wrong, but you can transform it into a Dharma practice. Do you know what's in a consort practice? There's a boundary protection. So teaching you how to do the boundary protection. There's mantra recitation, chanting mantra. So that's teaching you the mantra recitation. There's qi. So taking in the qi, swallowing saliva. So the Dharma practice for taking in the qi, swallowing saliva, and then meditation. How can there be meditation in the consort practice? Yes. When you are focused, that's meditation. So there are all cultivation methods in there. Also mudra. That's the techniques. That's the mudras, the boundary protection, mantra recitation, meditation, many different Dharma practices in it. And practicing the qi, the inner tantric practice is also included. For the qi channels and light drops, that's the circulation of qi and qi. And then opening up the channels during such time. During such. And then with the light drops above and light drops below, you also practice the non-leakage. And when the light drops descend, you need to retract it. That's the non-leaking Dharma practice. So there are many principles in the consort practice or dual body practice. And And that's part of human nature, which includes greed, anger, and delusion. Like the Heruka practice is to cultivate using your greed and anger, or the anger part of the human nature, to practice the Heruka practices, and utilizing the greed of human nature to practice wealth, deity, and utilizing the ignorance of human nature to transform it into great wisdom. Those are methods in Tantric Buddhism, and those can only be done by great bodhisattvas. Like Grandmaster is non-leaking in his body from long ago. I've been non-leaking since long ago. Actually, loving sex is a human nature. People criticize consort practice of Tantric Buddhism. How can they practice such a thing? I think even for ordinary lay Buddhists, they are not ordained. But actually, they are also practicing it, although they are not practicing dual body, but not dual body practice. Why do we call it a practice? Because like what was taught by the gurus, how to visualize, how to form the mudras, how to chant the mantra, how to meditate, how to open the channels and practice the chi and light drops, how to ascend and descend, how to circulate the chi, how to open the channels. So today, the great bodhisattvas know full well the coming and going of sentient beings, their motives, their thoughts, their hearts, their minds, their actions, their behaviors, because they comprehend the cause and effect of past, present, and future. A great bodhisattva has this ability. By taking a look at a person, he would immediately know where his future life would be. By taking a look at a person, a great bodhisattva would know about his past or present or future, because they are marks on your body. They would know everything. So other people would explain this statement as all the great bodhisattvas know about sentient beings, what they like, what they do, and what they think in their minds. That's the end of their explanations. But Grandmaster's explanation is different. That in the heart mind of sentient beings, they have greed, anger, and delusion, and how to transform them into precepts, meditation, and wisdom. And that's what the great bodhisattvas do. To transform greed. They don't know that in the consort practice, there's meditation, there's wisdom, there's also abiding by the precepts. If you practice until you reach non-leakage in the body, before you're taught the consort practice, or how to practice the non-leakage of the body, the great bodhisattva can teach that too. And then, like the world deity practices, Heruka practices, dual body practices only exist in Tantrayana. That's why Vimalakirti states that all the great bodhisattvas fully comprehend sentient beings, what they do, what they like, what they think. That's the meaning of this statement. You are what you, because they have greed, anger, and delusion in the minds of sentient beings. You use those to guide them, to entice them, and then guide them onto the Buddhist path. Last night at 3 a.m., the phone rang and the friend said, "Oh, some things inside my car was stolen." And then he said, "Why don't you report it to the police?" And the friend said, "Well, they may not be valuable, but the steering wheel, the gas pedal, the brake pedal were all stolen. Why don't you come and get me?" And I was thinking, how come thieves nowadays steal those things? So I changed and was about to leave the house, and the phone rang again, and the friend said, "Oh, no need to come. I was drinking too much, and I sat on the passenger seat." So drinking is also human nature, and also smoking, gambling. It's difficult to change those. And one more nowadays is playing cell phones. You're obsessed by it. So many people are obsessed by that. And people become isolationists. And they lock themselves in their rooms, and they don't eat, they don't sleep, they just play with the cell phones. So lots of things are very addictive, and you need to know about that person and find a way to save them. They're addicted to the cell phone. I don't know why. It's so addictive, because I don't have a cell phone. I don't have cell phone with me. I never touch a smartphone. It's better that I don't know it and I don't learn it, rather than being addicted to it. Should I? A young, beautiful lady was wearing a very tight skirt and short skirt, and it's too tight. She was trying to get on the public bus, and she could not. So she secretly unbuttoned two buttons behind her, and still she could not get on the bus. And then someone behind her unbuttoned one of her buttons, and she slapped him. And what a pervert, why are you unbuttoning my skirt? And he said, hey, I didn't say anything when you unbuttoned my pants, and now I'm unbuttoning only one of your buttons, and you slapped me. So she made a mistake. So human beings in this lifetime has to get married at least once. You know why? Otherwise, you would never know how good it is to live alone. The husband called the wife. I have to socialize tonight and can't go home to eat. And the daughter asked Mom, what does it mean to socialize? And Mom said, it's because it's an obligation. He doesn't really like it, but he has to do it. So the next morning, before school, the daughter said, I want to socialize, Mom. That you have to go even when you don't like it. The weather is like woman, ever changing, and the weather forecaster is like the man. It's undeniable. Master Huichin has told this joke. You have to learn to swim because in this society it's so easy that people drag you into the water. Om Mani Padme Hum.